Welcome to Knicks Homecourt with your host. My name is Greg Armstrong. Today we're going to talk about free agency. What should the Knicks do? We're going to do a little hindsight 2020 with Porzingis. We're going to talk about that. Like, what if the Knicks didn't trade Porzingis, even though we know he wanted out of town? We're going to talk about that. And what should the Knicks do? Yes, I had to look at my paper. All right, so let's get right into it. First, we're going to start with free agency. All right, let me just say this real quick as I put this down. Yo, so I'm hearing that Steve Mills and Scott Perry, and I'm hearing that they may sign a bunch of 1-year contract players, sign players to 1-year deals and stuff like that to keep their cap flexibility and things like that. If they strike out on Kevin Durant and the big free agencies, right? If they're going that route, if they're going the route of signing 1-year players, I think that's a disaster. I think that's a complete fucking disaster. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you sign 1-year players, they're out for themselves. It doesn't build a continuance with the rookies. You're gonna have players like Beasley on your team. You're gonna have knuckleheads, basically, veteran knuckleheads that are on 1-year deals. That's just not a good way. I think. See, there's an old saying, and actually, I was supposed to start this video off with that, and I forgot it. Build it, and they will come. I mean, it's the oldest saying in the book. Build it, and they will come. Now, this situation with the Nets could be a smokescreen, and they still might come to the Knicks. You see, and if you think of the reason why they might come to the Knicks is because the Knicks are the Knicks, right? The Knicks own New York. They still own New York, right? So that goes to, but players are looking at this. They're saying, if you look at all the time, all these teams, if you look at the Boston Celtics, if you look at, Boston Celtics is a great case study. They wasn't expecting to be good. I remember when they built their team. They got all those trade picks, all those draft picks and stuff like that, and players, and they just were playing them. And Brad Stevens is a great college coach, so he was able to put those things together and those elements, and it developed them into a good team. And then once you develop into a good team, you can go to free agents and say, hey, we have this foundation set up for you. We just need to add you, and we done. Or we just need to add you, and we're done. See, I'm going to be honest. If I'm Kevin Durant, I would look at Carmelo Anthony. The Knicks brought Carmelo Anthony and never brought nobody else with them. They had Patrick Ewing, never put another star with Patrick Ewing. So I feel like you got to build these players are smarter than that today. You got to build your foundation. You got to have some good role players, some good young players. Then you can add some stars. But you can't, it's just difficult to do it the other way around, especially when you've been known to not know how to build a team. Like, why should Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving come here when the Knicks have shown over the years, and I hate to say this, and I know it's a different regime, but this is their career. And over the years, the Knicks have not shown they know how to surround their players. The one thing the Knicks have never shown people is they know how to build a foundation. They've never shown that. So if they go out and sign these 1-year deals, I just think that's just a terrible move for the franchise. I think it's time to start to try to slowly move your franchise forward and not keep kicking it down the road. Because guess what? If you sign a bunch of 1-year deals, I bet you ain't gonna be no ticket sales. Ain't gonna be no damn ticket sales. So you want to kick it down the road. How much time you think you got, Scott Perry, Mills? How much time you think you got at MSG? You ain't got a bunch of time. There's shareholders. There's people that's gonna be like, yo, get them up out of here. You're on right now, Scott Perry, I think, was this his second year? Like, you're on the clock. People have been very nice to the Knicks because of Phil Jackson. So you traded Porzingis. People could say what they want about Dolan. Dolan let him do that. You traded Porzingis. You did the things you did, and You have to move the. In my opinion, I think you should. I think the franchise needs to be moved forward. Now, I want to move into the next thing I want to talk about, and I may come back to that before the end of this. So I want to talk about hindsight is 2020, right? Hindsight with Porzingis, right? Now again, why did Porzingis want to leave? Now, I'm not on Porzingis' side. I think Porzingis is a little pompous. I think him and his brother be wilding. I think they bug. You know what I'm saying? However, Porzingis is probably like, you couldn't surround Melo with anybody. Now I'm here and I got all these dudes around me hoping that a free agent would come. You had a young star, and now I know people say wait, but he didn't have confidence that you can build a foundation around him. Now, don't get me wrong. He wanted to play with Luka Doncic. Trust me, it's a European thing. It's cool. No problem. He loved Dirk. That was always... I don't know why the Knicks fans were so happy to see him shooting around with Dirk when Dirk was tampering the whole time, you dumbasses. The whole time, Dirk was like, yo, you need to come to Dallas. You need to come to Dallas. You need to come to Dallas. I'll show you everything. You could take my spot. It just so happened that Dirk is retiring and Porzingis is there. Conspiracy theory? Maybe. I got a draft one for you too, but you know, maybe I'll talk about that in the middle of the summer when ain't nothing. I'll talk about the little draft conspiracies. You know, I mean, I'm not saying it's rigged, but there's definitely some strange coincidences going on. So anyway, imagine if the Knicks kept Porzingis, if they were allowed. Like, let's just say it was a better situation, and he believed in the front office. Let's just say that the Knicks could have right now R.J. Barrett, Kevin Knox, oh my God, Kristaps Porzingis. Oh my God, they would have a nice young core with Porzingis as the leader. Dennis Smith, nice young core, and they would have had cap space for one max player. And in that case, you would sign a guy like I would look at a guy in that situation like a Jimmy Butler. Why? Jimmy Butler's not going to make them great, but he's a professional, and you got a young team that needs to be around professionals. That would have been good. I'm just saying. Hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020. You know. And when you think about it, or you could have signed KD and got a draft pick, and you got Porzingis, but now you got two players coming off injury. Or if you have Porzingis, maybe you do sign Kawhi. Maybe you do sign Kyrie and Porzingis. I think that was in Kyrie's head in the first place at one time. So that's just hindsight of 2020. It's so funny how things turn around, and it's like, wow, all of those options are off the table. But again, as a Knicks fan, we always hopeful. That's why you're watching this channel. That's why I'm making these videos, because we are hopeful Knicks fans. We believe that things are going to turn around. I mean, I've seen good days here. So sorry, youngsters, y'all haven't seen the Knicks when they were good, but I seen them when they were good. What should the Knicks do? I mean, what should they do? You know, should they sign Kevin Durant and let him sit for a year? You know, well, he would have to sit for a year. Should they sign Kyrie by himself if he's willing to come here? Should they go hard after Kemba? I don't care what none of the reports are saying. Until shit happens, nothing happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't exist until it happens. That's how I look at it. People change their mind all the time. Things happen. You know, that's why I don't believe in a done deal. Nothing's a done deal until the deal is done. Period. If somebody says a done deal before the deal is done, things happen in the last second. We've seen it. Wasn't DeAndre Jordan a done deal in Dallas? So, just, you know. But anyway, who should the Knicks go with? What should the Knicks do? I'm going to tell you like this. People may not like what I'm going to say here, but now, I'm going to say I think the Knicks should sign 2 young players for cheap. Young players who can grow with the young players, but young veterans. Young veterans. The first one that comes to my mind is Julius Randle. You got to sign Julius Randle. Now, you got to have a limit how much you're going to sign him to. I think he averaged 21 points a game last year. He's a young pro. He's what you call a young pro. You're not winning the championship with him, but he's young. He was with the Lakers. He went to the Pelicans. He's shown fortitude. He's making himself a very good NBA player. He found his way. You need young players like that. So, and he's 24. I would sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal, upwards of 15 to 18 million per, because he might get over 20. So you got to go 15 or 18 million. That's just the going rate. I would sign him for like 3 or 4 years. Now you got this young guy on your team. You could put him next to Mitchell Robinson. Now you got your power forward and your center. And then I would consider looking at, again, I don't want to go max young player. So I wouldn't even go after Kemba Walker. Kyrie's a consideration, but I'm thinking about another player who's a free agent. I believe he's a free agent or restricted. I have to look that up. But Terry Rozier, Scary Terry. He might come for 10 million only because he want to start. Now, I think he's restricted. I do have to research that. I'm not sure. But if it's possible, the Knicks should consider going after him. And you say, well, they got Dennis Smith. Why go after him? Because this guy has been in the playoffs. When you sign players who made their own way into the league and made themselves into something, or who have been into the playoffs before, you want those kind of players on your team. They don't have habits of losing or giving up. So you want young players like that can help other young players like that. Not these 1 year stupid ass deals with these veterans who are just trying to stick around for 1 more year, 1 more check. You do not want that on the team. So, that's, my belief with that. See, I would go after him because I think Terry Rozier is like 23, 24. Let's say they both 24. Now you got 24-year-old Terry Rozier. You got 24-year-old Julius Randle. Both of them not in their prime. That's why you signed them to 3 or 4 year deals, because they're not in their prime. The only problem is, I'm not going to lie, the first 2 years of their deal, like towards the end of their deal, they're probably going to be due for more max deals. So that's what you got to consider within the 4 year span or 3 year span. What are the Knicks looking to do? Are they looking to, but then you think about it. If them players are good, in their 3rd year or their 4th year, they become assets. It'll be good salaries. That's how you do it. That's how you get assets. You sign them because you believe in them. You think they can turn into something. So you sign them, like Julius Randle. You sign him, he can rebound, pass, and score. You sign a Terry Rozier, and they become better and better players, and maybe eventually become stars or borderline stars. Now you have trade chips, or you have possible staples of your team. I'm not worried about who's starting. You're trying to build a good team. The Knicks have no foundation. They have no winning players. They have players who don't know shit. Who's going to be the leader out of that? I don't know. So you need to have some veterans down there. And I would prefer to go with young veterans where you can build your team with. You can build your team with a Julius Randle. Oh, and an honorable mention to D'Angelo Russell. The reason why I said Terry Rozier and not D'Angelo Russell, because D'Angelo Russell was actually my first choice, because he's already a star. He's 23. That's why I think the Nets would be stupid to go after Kyrie, because Kyrie's not winning you a championship. But go ahead. He's 23. Only problem with D'Angelo Russell is he's due for a max contract, and I don't want to give him a max, even though I do think he's going to be a star next year, and I think he's going to continue. I think he's going to find his way. Let's not forget he's a number 2 pick. It's not like he was good last year because he wasn't supposed to be good. They expected him to be as good as he is. So a lot of people say, oh no, I don't want D'Angelo. Pump your brakes on that. It's just that he's due for a max deal, so I would have to really consider that. I would have to really consider giving D'Angelo a max deal, and you have Dennis Smith on the bench. But you'll be signing a 23-year-old all-star who's not even in his prime, right? That's what you would be signing. And let's not forget, the Knicks would end up with Dennis Smith and D'Angelo Russell on the same team. 2 players that many Knicks fans wanted on the same team. So anyway, it's about building a team. Not everybody can start. Everybody's worrying about the starting lineup. No, it's about your top 8 players, your top 9 players, your top 10 players. So anyway, that's what I would do. That's what I think the Knicks should do. I think they should go that route. The 1-year route, nobody's here for that. Nobody's here for that. I'm not here for that. I'll start doing podcasts, videos about some other team. I'm joking. I'll still do these. But I'm just saying that nobody's here. I don't think people are here for the 1-year short deals, kick it down the road. Nothing's promised. We thought we was getting KD. We still might get KD, but we getting damaged good KD. And we signed him for 4 years. Understand, we may get 2 good years out that deal. And those might be the 2 in years of that deal. Can you imagine that? 2 years in crutches, walking around. Come on, New York City. I don't know. Just something to consider, that's all. But that's the route I would go. Anyway, this has been Knicks Homecourt. I'm your host. My name is Greg Armstrong, and y'all have a good one. Peace.